It took a little over 2.5 seconds for Rodtang to knock out Edgar Tabares, but there is substantially more beneath the surface. To understand the context of that short sequence, we need to skip back in time to the first matchup between Rodtang and Jonathan Haggerty. In my time watching Rodtang, I would describe the foundation of his style as sort of a Muay Thai version of inside boxing. Rodtang is constantly pressuring forward, looking for openings to the body to open the guard around the head. Body-head combinations are the most consistent staple of his offense in my analysis. Jonathan Haggerty, on the other hand, has a consistent weakness in his guard to body strikes. The most consistent way to beat Haggerty seems to be consciously attacking his midsection to sap his cardio, lower his guard, and score more points. This fight essentially turns into a contest of Haggerty using his patented mix of push and teep kicks to maintain his range, while also using those same kicks as feints to open up switch and round kicks. The idea being that the push and teeps punish forward movement while also functioning as rangefinders for his power kicks. Rodtang needs to get past these stabbing kicks while landing consistent damage to the midsection. Early in this fight, Haggerty's blend of range finding into power kicks proves to be consistently just a bit too much for Rodtang. As the rounds progress, however, Rodtang's style wears Haggerty down, and as his cardio begins to fail, Rodtang pulls away for a decision victory. This fight sets the stage for both fighters in their rematch. Haggerty needs to find a way to extend that initial success throughout the entire fight. Rodtang needs to find a consistent counter to that same strategy to increase his chances of finishing Haggerty early. It's in the second fight where we see Rodtang's preparation edges out Haggerty's adjusted strategy. In the first fight, Rodtang began to find success by catching those push kicks and turning them into a means of propelling himself forward to land a power body hook on Haggerty. This was obviously a huge area of focus for Rodtang in his preparation, as the results show. Haggerty's adjustment seems to be attacking the thigh/knee with the teeps and push kicks to lower Rodtang's focus to his legs rather than his body. This would allow Haggerty to pair front kicks to the head when Rodtang is focused on his lower extremities. The problem for Haggerty comes when Rodtang begins landing those body hooks consistently, even dropping Haggerty with a 3-2 combination. This throws an immediate wrench in Haggerty's plan. He will need to lean more on those push and teep kicks to maintain the distance and protect that midsection from Rodtang's power hooks. This plays right into Rodtang's masterful adjustment, by landing the body hooks and forcing Haggerty to be more focused on using kicks as a distance manager rather than a setup. Haggerty's adjustment gives Rodtang more chances to land those power hooks off the caught kicks. Rodtang steadily wears Haggerty's body down until he's essentially unable to eat another clean body shot without getting dropped. Rodtang is able to drop Haggerty with a flurry of 3-2 and 3-4 body combinations. Minutes later, a knee to the body after a flurry drops Haggerty again. With 2 knockdowns in a single round, 1 more drop and Haggerty will lose by automatic TKO. Moments after the reset, Rodtang lands a 3-2 to the body and follows it up with a single 3 more, and Haggerty loses by TKO. So with these adaptations studied, let's move to the fight in question. There is no question in my mind that Tabares and team noticed the exact same adaptational evolution over those 2 fights and planned their game plan accordingly. Tabares too leverages the push and teep kick to maintain his distance from Rodtang while also giving him the read. But there's where Tabares shows his intellect. Tabares drilled a pre-planned counter to Rodtang's catching kick strategy. Tabares attempts to take advantage of Rodtang's aggression on the body hook counter by ducking down to mitigate the damage from the expected body hook, and then using the momentum to come around with a spinning elbow to Rodtang's head. The problem? Rodtang goes upstairs instead of to the body. Moments after that, Tabares gets his wish. Rodtang catches another push kick and seemingly targets the body more on this one. Tabares whirls and lands a glancing elbow off Rodtang's head. The main issue was with Tabares' step through. He landed unbalanced, which likely contributed to a reduction in the overall power of the elbow. Knockouts are, in many cases, a game of inches. This time, Tabares wasn't as lucky. It's on the 3rd push kick that we see Rodtang make his first adjustment. In the prior 2, the kick was thrown with Tabares' rear leg. This time, his lead. Rodtang dials back the aggressive entry and lands to the body without overcommitting. The 4th is where Rodtang has figured out his defense. But it's not just the defense that fascinates me so much. It's the way that Rodtang turns that defense into offense. In the 4th read, Rodtang seems to recognize that most of the power from Tabares' elbow comes in the form of the rotational momentum of stepping through the caught kick. Rodtang begins to play with the momentum from here on. On the 5th attempt, Rodtang catches and begins his windup in one motion. He rips the hook and immediately fades back to get out of the line of danger. The key was that he dropped the leg rather than pulling Tabares in. When he pulled Tabares, it created the momentum for Tabares to step through and spin. On the 6th attempt, he drops the foot again. But this time he goes 3-4 upstairs. Tabares' strategy has lost its legs and he needs to adapt immediately. Unfortunately, he does not. A minute later, Rodtang catches another push kick and this time throws a lead elbow that Tabares blocks. The stage is now set for the finish. So Rodtang has learned a couple things here, right? If he pulls on Tabares' leg when he catches the kick, Tabares uses the momentum to spin into an elbow. If he drops the leg, Tabares is open to strikes, but they are blockable. The key insight I believe Rodtang noticed came in that last sequence. Rodtang saw that he could control where Tabares' head was while lining up an elbow with the other. Rodtang puts all this together spectacularly in a highlight reel finish. Tabares kicks to the body and Rodtang catches, slightly pulls Tabares in, and shows the hook. Tabares rips a strike, Rodtang uses it offhand to block the power, Rodtang grabs Tabares' far shoulder, and lands a flush elbow to the unguarded face. Knockout. I wanted to highlight this sequence because I think it represents something missing from high-level MMA. These sorts of adaptations and counter-adaptations are not as common in MMA striking as one would hope. Watching this fight live, I was stunned at what I was watching, and it motivated me to dive deeper to try and piece together step by step what led to that one moment. This is what a true chess match looks like. This is what talent development on a long-term scale looks like. To inject a little business analysis in here, I project it's just a matter of time before more fans like myself begin turning to one's Friday night kickboxing events to satiate the need for higher level striking that MMA just isn't really giving us right now. While I have many complaints about one, contrary to my comment section's belief, I have more complaints about one than the UFC actually, but I can't help but feel that the decision to host large-scale kickboxing fights on a platform as large as Prime Video could be an inflection point moment in American combat sports fans' viewing habits, but only time will tell.
With the inside of a cake. Introducing the Betty Crocker Bacon Fill, a delightful new pan that lets you prepare a cake with all kinds of delicious fillings.